Um, I don't know who the guy is. He goes by the name H.G. Tudor, but I was listening to something and what he was doing in narcissism, and I'm like, dang, I don't know how he knows so much about the bit about narcissism, but it's just like just the how he basically has a monologue and he ends up talking about it. In fact, H.G. Tudor and Tudor has several books on for sale. I don't get any kickbacks or anything from his stuff, but my point being is and whoever I don't know if that's a pen name or what it is, but anyhow, whoever he is, it ends up doing stuff, and that is an example of somebody. He admits to being a narcissist, and basically that's how he's able to describe how a narcissist operates or does different things. Um, it's just really wild because when I was listening to one of the ones that he had, it's like, dang, if that doesn't scream the reality of dealing with a narcissist. The one was called Crazed. It's H.G. Tudor hyphen knowing the narcissist colon ultra. And the thing is, I'll just go ahead and, but anyhow, how a mid-range narcissist manipulates. Um, wow. I, it's not funny, but when I listen to him talk, and then he brings in like just different words, it's kind of in a weird way, in a sick way, a comedy, just dealing with the way narcissist ends up doing things. Um, oh gosh, I mean, the main thing to do is to listen to, well, listen to what he says. He'll use words like martyrdom, um, provocation, uh, things like blame shifting, and different things like that, grandiosity and false compassion. But it's just like, oh gosh, so abs. I could go into to it. It made me think back on a particular, just uh just having people duped as narcissists know how to don't ever estimate a narcissist. Don't ever estimate anyone that has who knowingly destroys people's lives. um they most definitely made a choice to end up being that way. Most definitely. And it's just like the guy, and it pisses me off, just somebody even saying something just so absurd. I accidentally slipped and my penis accidentally went into the girl. It's just like, oh shit. um Excuse my French, but anyhow, that's what really irritates me, is the ones who have, it's not only the ones who destroy people's lives, but it's the ones who sat on their ass, who enabled the destroyers. and just sat there like nothing was happening, and like almost like they were that's the reason why that painting Schadenfreude just really hits the nail on the head, when especially when I think about the ones that were laughing at me and that kind of stuff. That movie just I mean that painting, I forgot who ended up doing it, but just deriving some sort of pleasure out of in that particular case, it was a man that was struggling. It was depicting a man that was struggling, but it also deals like with the one of the painting where somebody is getting ready to get burned alive. A man is getting ready to get burned alive, and people are thinking that they're doing the will of God by picking up twigs and sticks and logs and stuff to get ready to throw into the fire where the man is going to be burned. And I'm just like, oh God, does somebody not see wrong with with the ones sitting there? And I mean, it reminds me when I was listening to somebody talk about how they would gladly push the button on somebody on death row, and I was like, why would anybody want to be jumping up and down, going, "Let me do it, let me do it. I want to push the button. I want to push the button." I'm like, just the and I think the reason why that irritated me so much is the number of people who have been killed, murdered, whatever, or executed, who were later found to be innocent. Why would somebody want to sit there and go, "Oh, let me do it, let me do it. I want to do it. Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I push the button? Can I give the lethal injection? Can I do it? Can I do it?" And I'm like, but not only that, it gets deeper than that. It's like, at what point did somebody realize that whoever it was possibly innocent, had been set up for a crime that they never committed, and would they, if they were, if there's a saying, and it's a Indian proverb that basically walking 2 moons in my shoes. um and that basically deals with somebody not having firsthand knowledge of a situation. And that's kind of like part of the reason why I think that so much of the mental health profession is just so full of crap. I mean, I distinctly remember being gaslighted by the so-called mental health professional. uh is he yelling at you now? And I'm like, "Oh, she's don't tell me that basically who I was dealing with also it just was like crap." And I mean, I just look at some of this stuff, and it's just even when I talk about it, it's just I realize that my head is just like shaking back and forth, like just like it is so difficult to. It's just like one of them taking me out where there were hidden cameras and hugging me. And it's like, well, the reason why they were doing that is to basically deflect the attention off of them, so that there would be some sort of video tape or something of them pretending to be nice to me. I mean, it's just like, duh. Um, just the stuff that they do. And then the times that there weren't hidden cameras around, or a hidden recorder or whatever else, and the way that basically the way that I was being treated around the hidden cameras was vastly different than the way that I was being treated where there weren't hidden cameras or hidden recorders around. And but that also deals with the manipulation that typically goes on. My intent is not to But basically, for the people out there who've been effed with, uh, the ones that are effing with people already know that emotional abuse is it. Well, abuse is abuse, but that emotional abuse is takes longer to heal from. They already know it. That's the reason why. But also gaslighting that doesn't leave bruises and stuff, and it's much more difficult to try to prove, if that makes sense. Just like it's the analogous of somebody telling me that I have to or need to or force me to do something, and never putting it in writing that they told me that I had to or I needed to or forced me to do something. And that also deals with kind of like the Indian proverb of walking in my moccasins. And so many times, I mean, I could cringe when I think about this stuff, and not only that, well, it in its own weird way, it's kind of like a good thing, but because it kind of like let me see who was willing to enable the art, the the ones who wanted to destroy my life, if that makes sense. It let me see their true colors. It let me see that their actions, that their behaviors were indicative that they didn't give a shit about me. And I know that might sound bonkers, but it's like I'm not saying go up and burn and just keep inflicting harm on yourself by touching a hot burner, but what I'm saying is that many times it's an important lesson to learn, and to realize like who you need to get rid of in your life. I'm not talking about going out and killing them or anything else like that. No, that's not what I mean by getting rid of them. What I'm saying is realize that when, as the Bible says, when their fruits are rotten and stuff, when to go no contact, when to minimize contact. I mean, some of them, unfortunately, I just there's it's like some of the ones that have keys to different buildings where that basically I have to go at times that have already done some obnoxious things to me, but like thrown stuff at me and psychopathically laughed at me and just the other stuff. What I'm getting at is when I have to, when I'm forced to have to be around them, I minimize contact as much as possible. And the thing is that the sad reality is oftentimes some of the ones that people would least expect to be the ones that are doing uh, physical as well as emotional harm are medical contractors. And that might sound bonkers to some, but I mean, I just I have firsthand knowledge of what many of them intentionally did to me. In fact, I still recall, can remember. I still remember the smirks on the faces. I still remember just a lot of the gruesome. I'll just say the gruesome details. It doesn't mean I'm going to murder myself. Nope. As I was talking about earlier, never give the devil a touchdown. Mm-mm. Never give the devil a touchdown. But getting back to HDG, whatever his name is, Tudor, uh, I it's wild. It's just, I'll give an example of gaslighting. I called a place where there was something dealing with narcissist, and where it was lied to me and said they didn't know what I was talking about, and I was like, that is a form of gaslighting, and I just was like, I mean, I wanted to sit there and say, what do you mean you don't know who it is that had access to the keys to the building, or had the or who what do you call it, reserved a room for a meeting. I just went ahead and hung up. That's an example of when somebody's like trying to play games on you. It's just like when one of them sat there and said something and just acted stupid, and I was like, I shouldn't have, I should have just hung up the phone instead of even saying one more word. But instead I said, "You mean to tell me that you don't even know who works in the office with you that has red hair?" It's like, number one, how many people have red hair? But how many people would I mean, it's just like, how many people would have red hair? And how many people, I mean, it's just kind of like, why are you continuing to lie to me when basically I can blow holes through the arguments that you're giving me? But that's part of the danger about the gaslighting and the mind games, is it makes people second guess their reality when there's nothing wrong with their reality. It's more, there's something sick and demented about the ones who are just intentionally effing with somebody's mind. Intentionally. That's the reason why I'm like, look at the painting Schadenfreude, and it's just like, just sitting there and acting stupid about what somebody needs, and taking an opportunity to laugh at somebody instead of helping somebody, and just pretending to be stupid about what somebody needs or wants, if that makes sense. I mean, it's obvious. Just look at just look at the expression on the faces in that painting Schadenfreude.